The Art of War. By Sun Tzu. Chapter 1. Strategic Foundations. Sun Tzu proclaimed, "The science of warfare is pivotal for the prosperity of a nation. It's not just a matter of survival but a pathway to either safety or ruin. Therefore, it demands relentless scrutiny. The art of warfare is governed by 5 enduring factors, essential for understanding the dynamics of the battlefield. These are: 1. Ethical influence. 2. Environmental factors. 3. Geographical considerations. 4. Leadership qualities. 5. Organizational strategy and discipline. Ethical influence ensures the populace aligns with their leader, ready to follow regardless of the risks. Environmental factors encompass the cycle of day and night, fluctuations in weather, and the passage of seasons. Geographical considerations encompass distances, both long and short, the balance between danger and security, and the strategic significance of terrain. Leadership qualities embody wisdom, honesty, compassion, courage, and decisiveness. Organizational strategy and discipline involve the arrangement of forces, the hierarchy among officers, logistical planning, and financial management. Every commander should be well versed in these principles. Mastery leads to victory, ignorance to defeat. Therefore, in strategic planning, evaluate: 1. Which sovereign embodies ethical leadership? 2. Which general demonstrates superior skills? 3. Who possesses the strategic advantage of favorable conditions? 4. Whose army maintains the strictest discipline? 5. Which force is stronger? 6. Whose troops are better trained? 7. Where is there greater consistency in the enforcement of rewards and punishments? By considering these 7 factors, victory or defeat can be predicted. A commander who heeds wise counsel and acts upon it will triumph. Retain such a leader in command. One who disregards counsel will face defeat. Dismiss such leaders. While embracing strategic advice, adapt to any advantageous circumstances beyond conventional wisdom. Adjust plans according to favorable conditions. Deception is fundamental in warfare. Therefore, when capable, appear incapable; when active, appear passive; when nearby, create the illusion of distance; when distant, seem near. Set traps to ensnare the enemy. Simulate chaos, then strike decisively. If the enemy is strong at all points, prepare for confrontation. If they are stronger, evade them. If your opponent is easily provoked, exploit their temperament. Feign weakness to provoke arrogance. Never allow a relaxed adversary to rest. Divide and conquer united forces. Attack where the enemy is unprepared, appear where least expected. These strategic maneuvers, leading to victory, must not be revealed prematurely. A victorious general meticulously calculates before battle. One who loses underestimates preparation. Thus, thorough planning leads to triumph, while neglect invites defeat. Paying attention to this ensures foresight in determining victory or defeat. Chapter 2. Conducting Warfare. Sun Tzu advised, in the theater of war, where 1,000 swift vehicles, an equal number of heavy chariots, and 100,000 armored soldiers stand ready with provisions to cover 1,000 miles, the daily expenses, both at home and on the front lines, including hospitality, minor supplies like glue and paint, as well as investments in vehicles and armor, will total 1,000 ounces of silver. Such is the cost of mustering an army of 100,000 men. When engaged in actual combat, prolonged struggle dulls weapons and dampens morale. Besieging a town exhausts strength. If the campaign drags on, the state's resources will falter. When weapons lose their edge, morale wanes, strength wavers, and coffers empty, opportunistic rivals will seize the moment. Even the wisest leader cannot prevent the inevitable consequences. Though haste in war may seem foolish, wisdom has never been found in prolonged delays. No nation has ever profited from prolonged warfare. Only those intimately acquainted with the horrors of war can grasp its profitable conduct. A skilled commander avoids unnecessary levies and limits resupply. Take supplies from home, but sustain the army by living off the enemy's land. When the state treasury is depleted, the army relies on distant contributions, impoverishing both the contributors and the people. An army's presence drives up prices, draining the people's wealth. As their wealth diminishes, heavy taxes burden the populace. With dwindling resources and exhaustion, people's livelihoods suffer, and government expenses escalate. A wise general prioritizes foraging from the enemy. Each enemy provision captured is worth 20 from one's own stores. To inspire soldiers and ensure the spoils of victory, rewards must be offered. In chariot battles, those who seize 10 or more chariots should be rewarded first. Enemy flags should be replaced with one's own, and captured chariots integrated into one's forces. Treat captured soldiers with kindness and retain them. This strategy, leveraging the conquered to augment one's strength, ensures victory. In war, the primary objective should always be victory, not drawn-out campaigns. Thus, it's evident that the leader of armies holds the fate of the people, determining whether the nation will know peace or peril. Chapter 3: Strategic Maneuvers. Sun Tzu advised, in the practical realm of warfare, the ultimate achievement is to seize the enemy's territory intact. To annihilate and devastate it is less desirable. Likewise, it's preferable to capture an entire army than to destroy it, to seize a regiment, detachment, or company whole rather than to obliterate them. Therefore, achieving victory in every battle is not the pinnacle of excellence. True excellence lies in breaking the enemy's resolve without engaging in combat. Thus, the highest form of generalship lies in thwarting the enemy's plans. Next is preventing the consolidation of enemy forces. Then comes attacking the enemy's army in the field, and the least favorable strategy is besieging fortified cities. The principle is to avoid besieging fortified cities whenever possible. Preparing mantlets, movable shelters, and war implements takes 3 months, and constructing siege mounds takes another 3 months. A frustrated general may impulsively order an assault, resulting in the loss of 1/3 of his troops, while the city remains untaken. This illustrates the disastrous consequences of a siege. Therefore, a skilled leader subdues enemy forces without combat, captures cities without sieges, and topples kingdoms without prolonged campaigns. With his forces intact, he challenges the dominance of the empire, achieving complete triumph without losing a single soldier. This is the essence of attacking by stratagem. In warfare, if our forces outnumber the enemy 10-1, we surround them. If 5-1, we attack. If double, we divide our army into 2. If the forces are evenly matched, we can offer battle. If slightly inferior, we can evade the enemy. If greatly outnumbered, we can retreat. Thus, though a small force may fight obstinately, in the end, it will be overcome by superior numbers. The general is the cornerstone of the state. If the general is strong, the state will be powerful. If the general is weak, the state will be vulnerable. A ruler can bring misfortune upon his army in 3 ways. 1. By ordering the army to advance or retreat without understanding its capabilities, hobbling its effectiveness. 2. By attempting to govern an army like a kingdom, causing unrest among the soldiers. 3. By indiscriminately appointing officers without considering their suitability, undermining soldier confidence. When the army is restless and lacks confidence, trouble will arise from neighboring princes, leading to chaos in the army and defeat in battle. Hence, victory requires 5 essentials. 1. Knowing when to fight and when to refrain. 2. Knowing how to handle both superior and inferior forces. 3. Ensuring the army is unified in spirit. 4. Being prepared while catching the enemy unprepared. 5. Possessing military competence without interference from the sovereign. Understanding these 5 points leads to victory. Therefore, it is said, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the outcome of 100 battles. If you know yourself but not the enemy, you will win some and lose some. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. Chapter 4: Strategic Maneuvering. Sun Tzu imparted, the seasoned warriors of old positioned themselves beyond the reach of defeat, awaiting the opportune moment to vanquish the enemy. To safeguard against defeat lies within our control, but the chance to defeat the enemy arises from the enemy's own actions. Hence, the adept warrior can shield themselves from defeat, but cannot guarantee victory. Thus, the adage holds true, one may understand how to conquer without necessarily achieving it. Defense ensures security against defeat, while offense signifies the capability to defeat the enemy. Remaining on the defensive indicates insufficient strength, while launching an attack indicates surplus strength. The general skilled in defense conceals themselves in the deepest recesses of the earth. The one adept in offense emerges from the highest reaches of the heavens. Thus, defensive prowess ensures self-preservation, while offensive mastery secures complete victory. Achieving victory only when it's apparent to the masses is not the pinnacle of excellence. Similarly, it's not excellence to fight and conquer while receiving accolades from the entire realm. To lift a single strand of hair in autumn demonstrates no great strength. To observe the sun and moon signifies no acute vision. To hear thunder indicates no exceptional hearing. A truly clever fighter, as described by the ancients, not only wins but triumphs effortlessly. Their victories do not earn them renown for wisdom or courage. They prevail by avoiding mistakes. The absence of errors ensures victory by defeating an enemy already in disarray. Therefore, the adept fighter positions themselves where defeat is inconceivable and seizes the moment to defeat the enemy. In warfare, the victorious strategist only seeks battle after securing victory, while the destined to fail leader first engages in battle and then hopes for victory. The consummate leader upholds moral principles, adheres strictly to method and discipline, thus controlling the outcome. In military strategy, we have 1. Measurement derived from earth. 2. Estimation of quantity, derived from measurement. 3. Calculation, derived from estimation of quantity. 4. Balancing of chances, derived from calculation. 5. Victory, derived from balancing of chances. A victorious army facing a routed one is like a pound of weight against a single grain on the scale. The advance of a conquering force resembles the torrential rush of water into a 1,000-fathom chasm. Thus, tactical maneuvers are executed. Chapter 5 Vigor. Sun Tzu proclaimed, commanding a large force follows the same principle as leading a few men. It's merely a matter of organization. Engaging with a vast army is no different from confronting a small one. It's simply about implementing clear signs and signals. Ensuring your entire army withstands the enemy's onslaught and remains steadfast is achieved through both direct and indirect maneuvers. Making your army's impact akin to a grindstone smashing an egg requires understanding weak points and strong points. In warfare, direct methods may initiate battle, but victory often demands indirect strategies. Indirect tactics, when wielded skillfully, are as boundless as the heavens and earth, perpetual like flowing rivers and streams. They cycle like the sun and moon, returning with each new day, like the changing seasons. Just as there are only 5 musical notes, yet countless melodies, and 5 primary colors yielding infinite hues, so too in battle, there are only 2 attack methods, direct and indirect, yet their combinations birth endless maneuvers. The direct and indirect tactics intertwine endlessly, akin to moving in a circle without reaching an end. Who can exhaust their potential combinations? The rush of troops resembles a torrent that sweeps everything along its path. Decisiveness mirrors the swift dive of a falcon, enabling it to strike and eliminate its prey. Thus, the adept warrior strikes fear with their assault and acts decisively. Energy is akin to drawing a crossbow, decision to releasing its trigger. Amidst the chaos of battle, apparent disorder may reign, yet true order remains intact. Simulated disorder implies perfect discipline, feigned fear hints at courage, and disguised weakness conceals strength. Concealing order within disorder merely requires organization. Masking strength with weakness is achieved through tactical maneuvering. The cunning combatant manipulates appearances to influence the enemy's actions. By baiting the enemy and lying in ambush with elite forces, he keeps them in constant motion. The skilled leader relies on combined energy rather than individual prowess, choosing the right individuals to harness collective strength. When combined energy is unleashed, fighting men become like rolling logs or stones, adapting to the terrain and gaining unstoppable momentum. Thus, the energy unleashed by skilled warriors is like a rolling stone cascading down a towering mountain. This concludes the discourse on vigor. Chapter 6 Weaknesses and Strengths. Sun Tzu declared, The one who seizes the initiative and waits for the enemy's arrival will be ready for battle. The one who arrives second and rushes into combat will be weary. Hence, the cunning warrior imposes their will on the enemy, ensuring the enemy cannot dictate terms. By presenting advantages, one can lure the enemy into action, or by inflicting damage, make it impossible for the enemy to advance. When the enemy relaxes, harass them. When they are well supplied, starve them out. When they settle, force them to move. Strike where the enemy must defend hastily. Move swiftly to places where you are least expected. An army can traverse great distances without strain if it avoids enemy presence. Attacking only undefended positions ensures success in assaults. Defending only unassailable positions guarantees safety. Thus, a skilled attacker confounds the enemy's defenses, while a skilled defender baffles the enemy's attacks. O divine arts of subtlety and secrecy! Through you, we learn invisibility and silence, holding the enemy's destiny in our hands. Advance irresistibly by exploiting the enemy's weaknesses. Retreat safely by outpacing their pursuit. Even if the enemy hides behind formidable fortifications, we can compel engagement by threatening elsewhere. When avoiding conflict, we can deter the enemy from confrontation by presenting unexpected challenges. By understanding the enemy's dispositions and concealing our own, we maintain unity while sowing division among the enemy's ranks. By concentrating our forces while scattering the enemy's, we overwhelm them with our numbers. Strategic superiority lies in concealing our intentions, leaving the enemy uncertain and vulnerable. Numerical weakness results from dispersing forces to counter potential threats. Numerical strength comes from forcing the enemy to make those same preparations. With knowledge of time and place, we can converge our forces for battle, but in uncertainty, our forces become disjointed and vulnerable. Even if separated by vast distances, an army's cohesion can be shattered by ignorance of its whereabouts. Though the enemy may outnumber us, victory can still be achieved through superior strategy. By discerning the enemy's plans and exploiting their weaknesses, we can thwart their intentions and dominate the battlefield. Probe the enemy's intentions, forcing them to reveal their vulnerabilities. Assess the enemy's strengths and weaknesses relative to your own, identifying where to exploit and where to fortify. The pinnacle of tactical mastery lies in concealing intentions, confounding even the most astute observers. The true essence of victory lies not in visible tactics but in the unseen strategies that shape them. Avoid repetition of successful tactics. Adapt to the ever-changing circumstances of warfare. Military tactics, like water, flow around obstacles, seeking the path of least resistance. In war, adapt your approach to the terrain and the enemy you face, for there are no constant conditions. He who can adapt his tactics to his opponents and secure victory is truly a master strategist. Just as water adjusts its course to the landscape, the soldier shapes victory according to the foe they confront. In warfare, as in nature, there are no fixed rules. Victory belongs to those who can adapt and evolve. Chapter 7: Maneuvering. Sun Tzu advised, in war, the general receives orders from the sovereign. After assembling and consolidating the army, the general must unify its diverse elements before establishing the camp. Then comes the art of maneuvering, the most challenging aspect of warfare. Maneuvering involves turning adversity into advantage and misfortune into fortune. To take a long and indirect route, lure the enemy away, and still arrive at the destination before them requires mastery of diversion. Maneuvering with a disciplined army is advantageous, but with an undisciplined mob, it's perilous. Sending a fully equipped army on a march to gain an advantage often results in being too late. Detaching a swift column sacrifices supplies. Ordering forced marches without rest, covering double the distance, risks losing leaders and exhausting the troops. Marching 50 miles to outmaneuver the enemy risks losing the 1st Division leader, while 30 miles may cost 2/3 of the force. An army without supplies or bases is lost. Alliances should only be made when understanding the neighbor's intentions. Leading an army requires knowledge of the terrain, utilizing local guides, and practicing deception. Move only when there's a clear advantage. Whether to concentrate or divide troops depends on circumstances. Be swift as the wind, solid as a forest, fiery in raids, and immovable as a mountain. Plan covertly, striking decisively. Share spoils with the soldiers and divide conquered territory for their benefit. Deliberate carefully before acting. Success lies in mastering the art of diversion. The Book of Army Management advises using gongs, drums, banners, and flags to unify the army's focus, ensuring cohesive action. In night battles, use signal fires and drums. In daylight, use flags and banners to direct the army's attention. An army's spirit peaks in the morning, wanes by noon, and seeks rest by evening. Exploit these moods. Maintain discipline, anticipate disorder, and conserve strength. Study the circumstances, avoid uphill battles, and exploit downhill advantages. Don't fall for feigned retreats or baited traps. Leave an escape route for surrounded enemies and avoid pushing desperate foes too hard. This is the art of warfare, blending strategy and tactics to secure victory while conserving resources and minimizing risk. Chapter 8: Adapting Tactics. Sun Tzu advised, in war, the general receives orders from the sovereign, assembles the army, and concentrates forces. Avoid encamping in difficult terrain. In areas with intersecting high roads, ally with others. Don't linger in isolated positions. In confined situations, resort to stratagem. When in a desperate position, fight. Certain paths must be avoided, armies not engaged, towns not besieged, positions not contested, and sovereign commands not blindly obeyed. A general who understands the benefits of varying tactics can effectively lead troops. But one who doesn't grasp this, despite knowing the terrain, can't apply knowledge practically. Even if a student of war comprehends the 5 advantages but lacks skill in varying plans, they won't optimize their forces. A wise leader blends considerations of advantage and disadvantage in plans. By tempering expectations of advantage, they can accomplish essential goals, and by seizing opportunities amid difficulties, they can escape misfortune. Keep hostile chiefs engaged, inflict damage, entice them, and lure them to vulnerable points. The art of war relies on readiness, not on the enemy's likelihood of not coming or not attacking, but on making the position unassailable. 5 dangerous faults can undermine a general. 1. Recklessness leading to destruction. 2. Cowardice leading to capture. 3. A quick temper, easily provoked. 4. Delicacy of honor, sensitive to shame. 5. Over-solicitude for troops, leading to worry and trouble. These are ruinous to war leadership. When an army falls and its leader is slain, these faults are usually to blame. Reflect on them. Chapter 9: The Army in Motion. Sun Tzu advised, when encamping the army and scouting for signs of the enemy, move swiftly over mountains and stay near valleys. Camp in elevated places, facing the sun, but avoid fighting on high ground. This applies to mountain warfare. After crossing a river, move far from its banks. If an invading force crosses, don't confront it midstream. Allow half to cross before attacking. If eager for battle, avoid engaging the invader near a river crossing. Anchor boats upstream, facing the sun, and avoid moving upstream to confront the enemy. This pertains to river warfare. In salt marshes, hasten through without delay. If forced to fight, position near water and grass, with a protective backdrop of trees. In flat country, secure a position with easy access, rising ground to the right and rear. Danger should be ahead, safety behind. These principles, mastered by the Yellow Emperor, led to victories against multiple sovereigns. Armies prefer high and sunny terrain. Camping on hard ground minimizes disease, ensuring victory. When encountering hills or banks, occupy the sunny side with the slope to the right rear, benefiting soldiers and utilizing natural advantages. Wait for swollen rivers to subside before fording. Avoid precipitous cliffs, torrents, deep hollows, and other treacherous terrain. Draw the enemy toward such terrain while staying clear yourself. Search areas near camp for hiding spots like hilly country, ponds, hollows, and thick woods, where ambushes or spies may lurk. An enemy staying put relies on natural defenses. If provoking a battle, they desire your advance. Movement in forests or screens in grass indicate enemy activity. Startled animals suggest imminent attack. Dust columns signal chariots or infantry approaching. Humble words with increased preparations signal impending action. Violent language without action may precede retreat. Light chariots on the wings suggest battle formation. Peace offers without oaths may hide deceit. Observing army movements and morale reveals crucial insights. Disturbances, shifting banners, and angry officers indicate internal strife. Refusing to return to tents, drinking water before giving it to horses, and not cooking over campfires signify readiness for a decisive battle. Whispers or subdued tones among soldiers indicate discontent. Frequent rewards or punishments signal desperation. Bluster followed by fear of the enemy's numbers shows folly. Complimentary envoys may seek a truce. Angry enemy troops facing yours demand vigilance. Equal numbers mean direct attack is unwise. Concentrate strength, watch the enemy closely, and seek reinforcements. Soldiers disciplined with humanity and iron discipline ensure victory. Consistent enforcement of commands leads to a well-disciplined army. A general's confidence in soldiers, coupled with insistence on obedience, benefits both. Chapter 10: Understanding Terrain. Sun Tzu outlines 6 types of terrain: accessible ground, entangling ground, temporizing ground, narrow passes, precipitous heights, and positions far from the enemy. Accessible ground is freely traversed by both sides. Occupy elevated and sunny spots and protect your supply lines to gain an advantage. Entangling ground can be abandoned but is hard to reoccupy. Engage the enemy if unprepared, but retreat if facing resistance to avoid disaster. Temporizing ground offers no immediate advantage. Instead of risking a move, retreat to entice the enemy out and attack with the upper hand. Narrow passes should be occupied first and heavily defended. Only pursue the enemy if the pass is weakly guarded. If the enemy occupies precipitous heights, don't follow. Instead, retreat and draw them away. Being far from the enemy with equal strength makes provoking a battle disadvantageous. These principles are essential for a responsible general to grasp. 6 calamities may befall an army due to the general's errors: flight, insubordination, collapse, ruin, disorganization, and rout. Understanding the terrain and controlling forces are crucial for victory. Ignorance or neglect leads to defeat. Even if ordered by the ruler, fight only when victory is certain. A general who acts for the country's protection, not personal glory, is invaluable. Treat soldiers like beloved children, and they will be loyal even unto death. Indulgence without authority renders them useless. Partial knowledge of the enemy or one's own troops leads only halfway to victory. Complete understanding of both, along with the terrain, ensures success. Experienced soldiers remain composed in motion and decisive in action. Knowing the enemy, oneself, heaven, and earth secures victory without doubt. Chapter 11: Understanding the 9 situations. Sun Tzu identified 9 types of terrain: dispersive ground, facile ground, contentious ground, open ground, ground of intersecting highways, serious ground, difficult ground, hemmed-in ground, and desperate ground. Dispersive ground is in one's own territory, while facile ground is when penetrating into hostile territory to a limited extent. Contentious ground is strategically advantageous to both sides, while open ground allows freedom of movement. Ground of intersecting highways holds significant strategic importance, while serious ground is deep within hostile territory. Difficult ground includes mountain forests and marshes, while hemmed-in ground restricts retreat. Desperate ground requires immediate action to avoid destruction. On each type of ground, tactics vary: avoid fighting on dispersive ground, keep moving on facile ground, and don't attack on contentious ground. On open ground, don't block the enemy's movements, and on ground of intersecting highways, cooperate with allies. Gather resources on serious ground, advance steadily on difficult ground, and employ stratagem on hemmed-in ground. Only fight on desperate ground. Skilled leaders disrupt enemy coordination, prevent concentration, and maintain chaos. Rapidity is crucial. Exploit enemy weaknesses and strike unexpectedly. Invading forces must maintain cohesion, gather supplies, and keep soldiers motivated. In desperation, soldiers fight fiercely. Understanding enemy intentions, local geography, and employing secrecy are vital for success. A warlike prince prevents enemy alliances, maintains secrecy, and overwhelms opponents. Manage troops effectively, adapting to situations and seizing opportunities. Success comes from understanding the enemy and employing cunning tactics. Block enemy movements, control information, and strike when the enemy least expects. Adapt strategies, be patient, and strike decisively when the opportunity arises. Chapter 12: The Strategy of Fire. Sun Tzu outlined 5 methods of using fire in warfare: burning soldiers in their camp, burning stores, burning baggage trains, burning arsenals and magazines, and dropping fire among the enemy. To execute a fire attack successfully, one must have the necessary materials ready and choose the right conditions. Dry weather and specific days with rising winds are ideal for starting fires. When employing fire attacks, anticipate 5 possible scenarios. 1. If fire erupts inside the enemy's camp, launch an immediate attack from outside. 2. If fire breaks out but the enemy remains passive, wait for the right moment to attack. 3. When the flames reach their peak, consider launching an attack if feasible, or maintain position if not. 4. If possible, initiate an external fire attack rather than waiting for an internal outbreak. 5. Always position yourself upwind when starting a fire and avoid attacking from the downwind side. Daytime winds tend to last longer than nighttime breezes. Understanding these factors requires knowledge of the stars and awareness of auspicious days. Using fire strategically demonstrates intelligence, while employing water aids in interception but not complete destruction. Those who lack enterprise waste time and opportunities. The wise ruler plans ahead, and the skilled general maximizes available resources. Only move troops when there is a clear advantage and engage in battle when necessary. Avoid unnecessary conflict driven by personal emotions. Maintain a cautious approach, as anger and vexation can change over time, but the consequences of destruction are permanent. An enlightened ruler exercises caution, and a skilled general exercises prudence to preserve peace and the integrity of the army. Chapter 13: The Role of Intelligence. Sun Tzu emphasized the heavy toll of mobilizing and sustaining large armies, urging leaders not to disregard the value of intelligence gathering due to the associated costs. Remaining ignorant of the enemy's situation out of reluctance to invest resources is short-sighted and ultimately detrimental to achieving victory. True wisdom lies in foreknowledge, which cannot be obtained through supernatural means or mere guesswork but rather through the use of spies. Sun Tzu outlined 5 types of spies. 1. Local spies, utilizing the knowledge of residents in a particular area. 2. Inward spies, leveraging enemy officials for intelligence. 3. Converted spies, turning enemy spies into informants for one's own benefit. 4. Doomed spies, feeding false information to deceive the enemy while keeping one's own spies informed. 5. Surviving spies, gathering first-hand intelligence from the enemy's camp. Maintaining close relationships with spies, rewarding them generously, and ensuring utmost secrecy are essential. Effective management of spies requires intuition, benevolence, straightforwardness, and mental agility. Timing is crucial, and premature disclosure of sensitive information by a spy warrants severe consequences. The key to success lies in uncovering the names and roles of key individuals within the enemy's ranks. Enemy spies should be intercepted, bribed, and converted to serve one's own interests. Through the information provided by converted spies, an intricate network of local and inward spies can be established, allowing for strategic deception and manipulation. Ultimately, the success of espionage lies in acquiring knowledge of the enemy's intentions and movements. Enlightened rulers and wise generals recognize the paramount importance of intelligence gathering, as it is the foundation upon which victory is built. Spies play a critical role in warfare, enabling armies to make informed decisions and seize opportunities.